2:30, and I said, and this was like 3:45 or something, and I asked him, I said, my wife was supposed to have an appointment. Is she still there? And I gave him her name, and she's like, well, she never checked in. And so then I tried to call a couple more times, and I was real worried at that point. So I called Deputy Harris, who was my neighbor, and he said he was almost home, that he would go check. So he got there, and he said that no one was answering the door. Her vehicle was there. I was like, well, please go inside. The door is unlocked. He went inside, was calling her name. I said, the bedroom's in the very back of the house. And her name's Crystal. And so he's calling Crystal. And
were you still on the phone?
I was still on the phone with him. Okay. And he opened the door, and he said, Crystal. And then he, at that point, he said, Tony, I'm sorry to tell you that she is deceased. And so then I rushed home.
Where were you at
I was
that
at
time?
the bowling alley, or by our karate school.
Okay.
I was at the karate school, and because we had class tonight, and so I was there waiting for her to get there, and she wasn't there by 4:00. Then that's when I really started panicking, because she had been dealing with some depression, and like I said, that's what she was going to the doctor for.
That was her
appointment to go for the depression. She was on Abilify, and the Amy Hale took her off of it, which is her doctor, and so now. And she was trying to come on. She said, I don't feel well. And I told her to call this morning. She set the appointment this morning. And so
she made the appointment for 2:30 this morning. Okay. When you talked to her on the phone at 10, how did she sound?
It took her a couple rings to actually get it. And I was like, she's like, hey. And I was like, hey. I said, what you doing? She's like, I was in the living room. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, sounded like you were asleep. And she's like, no, I wasn't asleep. I was just in the living room. So, and I talked to her. We sat on the phone for a few minutes, and she really wasn't saying anything. Because I talk to her while I drive a lot. And I talk to her while she's driving. And I was like, all right, well, I said, I won't get off here. You can get back to what you were doing. And she's like, okay. And I was like, I love you. And she said, I love you. And that's the last time I talked to her.
What handguns were available to her in the bedroom?
I don't know if in her purse there was a 9mm. I don't know if that's the one she used, but there was also a .45 on the nightstand.